Right out of the gate, I want to thank Shane S., Matthew J., Claire G., and James P. for being Patreon supporters. If you like this podcast and would like to support us on Patreon, go to patreon.com/whatweremember. We do Patreon exclusive episodes. This month was Back to the Future. If you're in the Metro Detroit area and want to see us live, we are going to be doing live recordings at the Main Art Theater in Royal Oak, Michigan. We're going to be doing The Big Lebowski on June 16th, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie on June 30th, Mission Impossible on July 7th, and Back to the Future on August 4th. All of those are Fridays, and all of them are at 11:15 p.m. Big shout out to the Main Art Theater for providing us a space to do our podcast. For more information or to check out those dates again, go to facebook.com/whatweremember. Thanks.
I mean, Australians have great national heroes, like that speed
Paul
skater that won because everyone else fell down.
Oh, I mean, he's like a classic.
Twice.
Apollo Ono?
No, Apollo Ono fell down.
He was one of the guys that fell.
He got second. Yeah.
He was so far in last place in his semifinals, and then all four skaters in front of him fell down, and he won the semifinal, and then he went to the finals.
That was a big moment.
All four skaters in front of him fell down again, and he won the final.
Do you feel good after those two moments?
Hey,
Did he throw a boomerang to
Gold
knock
medals.
them down?
Hey, look, he managed to not fall down, so that's some skill right there.
Yeah.
He threw a boomerang, it came back around, knocked him down the second time.
I mean, if you just manage to be slower than everybody else and like can have time to see
Slow
the
and
accident
steady,
happen, if you could see the accident happen, you can win.
My name is Bradley Jones,
I'm Andrew Moldenhauer.
And I'm Andy Hubert.
and this is not a movie review podcast, but a podcast we try to remember what happened in a movie we haven't seen in a very, very long time. This is what we remember about the next Karate Kid.
Were there 2 or 3 bad guys in Home Alone? And who was that forgetful fish in Finding Nemo? Join us as we're watching films. See what we remember and what memories we kill. Let's start the show. Here we go. This is what we remember. So why did we jump into this one?
I feel like it's the goofiest.
Yeah.
It's like
it
the
is-
Totes 90 goofiest.
It is the goofiest.
And it's also a movie that no one talks about. It's like the
That's
black
true.
sheep.
No one talked about it when it came out. I feel like
I saw this in the theater.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
I will say
I
I've
did
probably
not.
seen this one more than I've seen any of the other
I've
Karate
seen
Kid
number
movies.
2 the most for sure.
This came out the same week or the weekend of Toy Story, and I ended up seeing this one instead because I was like, I want to be an adult.
Brad-
I want to see an
Brad,
adult movie.
get out.
I'm a grown up now. I want to see the girl kick a king. Kick a king. She kicks a ding in the air.
Oh boy.
So how does this movie open? That's the question.
Yeah, that's a big question.
Opening shot of the film is Andy Hubert.
It's me? Wait.
Andy Hubert.
I'm in this movie?
The opening of this
No, let
movie-
Andy answer.
Okay, go
He's
Andy.
got to get it.
I don't know the opening scene. I know the beginning of the movie is Mr. Miyagi traveling from LA to Boston.
Oh.
Oh, he's going to Boston. What's he
Yeah.
going to Boston for?
He goes to Boston for like a meetup of his war buddies from World War II.
Oh, okay.
They're having some
And
get together.
The Hillary Swank's mom was married to one of them?
Yes, she was married to like his commanding officer or something.
Okay.
And
But that commanding officer is dead?
yeah, he gone.
Yeah.
He...
Whoa. I don't know.
He gone.
Did he like just pass, or is it just like in memoriam, like visiting?
I don't know. I think it's just they were there for like a reunion and
Not a
he
funeral?
just was talking to her. I don't think it was a funeral.
They weren't spilling some out for him.
But the mom is basically being like, she's having a real hard time coping with. It's like her grandma is who it is. I don't
Okay.
even think it's her parents because I think her parents are dead.
Whoa.
She's had a
She
hard
living
life.
with her grandma?
Yeah, because her parents like die somehow. Her parents are gone. They're out of the picture.
They
Wow.
died in a car accident?
I thought they just go on like vacation and like let him watch her.
No, the grandma does. Mr. Miyagi basically is like, let's trade lives for a couple weeks, and sends her back to his house so she can sit in his gardens
Wait,
And-
they trade lives?
Yeah, like he tells her to go hang out at his place in L.A. because it's very relaxing.
Wouldn't he live in like Okinawa at this point? Wouldn't he live back in Japan?
No, he still lives in L.A. You kidding me? With
I'm-
property
I'm
prices
very-
out there, he can't sell.
Yeah, I'm very fuzzy on Karate Kid 3.
Yeah. Plus his
I don't
too.
remember 3 at all.
Yeah, so I don't know where
I remember
this
this
kind
better
of
than
leaves
3.
us.
plus his house in the Karate Kid original trilogy is out of this world bonkers.
It's awesome.
Oh, it's amazing.
So cool.
Yeah, you can't give up a property like that. So he like tells her to take a vacation to his house, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll watch your kid for a couple weeks." And she's like, "Sure, guy I don't really know that well."
Yeah, because Killer Swink is a handful at this.
Isn't
Yeah.
she in like
she's
some,
like man.
like-
She's like a man at the world like punk girl.
Yeah, is she in like boarding school or something like that?
I was trying to
I think she
remember.
goes to high school.
She has to be in high school, but it's like a military high school or
Yeah,
something.
it's definitely like a military high school.
Because they have a prom. That's how the movie
yeah.
ends.
But there's like, but the bad guys are like these like ROTC guys.
Yeah, they're like crazy bullies to
Yeah,
her.
I don't know what their deal is, but it's like, it's not even like a rival dojo. It's just like these dudes at the school who like travel in a pack, beating people up.
yeah.
Yeah.
and
And
which-
they're like, they're giving off some rapey vibes to
Yes.
Hillary
Ooh.
Swank
No,
a lot.
they for sure like make sexual advances to her multiple times.
Yeah, it's like
Yuck.
bad. Like it's like weird.
hmm I also remember like she has like a pet falcon or something.
She has an entire like bird cage house.
what?
I think it's at like the top of a building, or maybe.
Yeah, isn't it on
it's at
top of the
It might be at
school?
the school then.
Yeah.
It's on top of the school, right?
Yep. Because
Okay.
there's
Wow,
this
this
love
is bringing me
interest.
back.
You're getting into it.
Because there's this love interest boy guy who's like trying to prove himself. Like, I can keep up with you.
Okay.
You should be dating me. And she's just like, I don't want to date you, loser guy. But he's actually
But
a handsome
is-
fella.
And this is probably completely wrong, but is that guy like in that group?
Oh, I bet he is.
Is he in that group, but he doesn't really agree
He
with
doesn't
them?
like
but
those
like,
guys, but they're like the cool guys who's got to roll with them.
Yeah, he's like wanting
I like
to be a
it.
part of this hierarchy, but he knows that what they're doing is just like awful.
Yeah, he's like they're terrible people,
but he can't say it
I
because
joined
he's
the
like
club.
the low man on the totem pole.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think it's like strictly martial arts, but I do think they all study some sort of fighting.
Yeah, like I said, I think
Like
they're
maybe
like
it's like a drill
they're like
instructor or
ROTC
military
guys
thing.
or something.
Because
And yeah,
I'm pretty sure there is an adult Mr. Miyagi like antagonist.
oh, see, now I'm thinking they are. Yeah, they're even more like they're probably JROTC. So it's like
Well,
they're
wait,
I think
commanding
they have like a
officer.
drill sergeant guy.
It's like
Michael
the bad guy.
Ironside.
The guy from the original, right?
No.
No,
No, it's
oh,
definitely
it's
not
not.
him.
I think it's Michael Ironside.
All right.
Wait, is Michael Ironside? Does he have like slick back hair and he's kind
No.
of?
He's bald. He's from Starship Troopers. He's from Scanners.
I think this. I think I'm
he's
thinking
from
of the same guy.
The mechanist. The mechanic. The machinist.
The machinist.
Yeah, I'm also thinking of the same guy.
Okay.
Yes.
I think Michael Ironside's
But
in this movie.
I just thought he had like slick back hair in this movie.
I don't think he's ever had hair, but I could be wrong. I think he was born
Michael
bald. and-
Ironside is listening to this podcast like, oh,
I like Michael Ironside a lot.
I
He's
had
so
hair
good.
at some
Yeah, he's
point.
fantastic. He's
He's
really good in The
wonderful.
Machinist.
Yeah.
And Highlander 2.
The Quickening.
The Quickening.
I'm so excited for us to do some Highlanders.
Oh
'cause
my God, I can't wait.
Andy loves those
Just the
movies
theme
so
song.
much.
I can't
They're
wait.
really good.
Although I know a lot about Highlanders.
That's true.
so
it
we'll
might be
see.
one of our special releases.
Yay. So, I'm just thinking about. I've got a picture of Michael Ironside in my head, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy he's in this movie.
That was such a good Peter
Because-
Griffin giggle.
There's no way I wrote this down in my notes before. This is something the podcast drew out of me.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy that I remember that he
Those
was
moments
in
are
this
so
movie.
good.
I know there's
Oh,
a moment that Mr. Miyagi is trying to connect with her, and she's like in a room, and I think she like jacks the stereo up because
Oh.
she's listening to music that is
Oh,
too loud or
like
something
cranks
like
the
that.
stereo up. Jack's stereo makes me think she put a fist through it. Like she jacked that stereo up. It doesn't work anymore.
So wait, what is she listening to?
I don't know, but there's a moment where Mr. Miyagi turns around and goes, "Ay ay ay, boy's much easier."
Before, live with a friend, Daniel-san. Daniel-san come Miyagi room, Miyagi go Daniel-san room. No big thing. Boy is easier.
Person's Daniel twice. Like one point he mentions that he used to teach a boy, and then in this way there's another point where he says boys are easier than girls.
Ooh.
Boy's much easier.
Is it racist that I thought Mr. Miyagi was actually in the room for a moment there?
Brad's just really good.
Yeah.
Wax on, wax off, Andy son.
Have you heard his
Oh,
Australian accent? It's
I-
amazing.
Oh, boy.
God.
Come on down, put the shrimp on the barbie.
Oh boy.
It's a little different.
Does
Not in a good way.
does she have a vacation coming up, or does she get suspended from school? Because there's a moment where
yes.
Mr. Miyagi takes her to some sort of monk sanctuary to do
Yeah.
I think she does get suspended, but like it's not her fault that she gets suspended. It has something to do with these ROTC guys.
Yeah, I think she's
they,
like trying to get
trap
away
her.
from them or something. I remember, like, I think she sets off like a fire alarm
Yeah.
because like they're chasing her and she's
She
like
ends up
trapped
getting in
or something.
trouble
So she
for
hits
it.
the fire alarm and runs outside and gets caught. Like, and they're like, "You set off a fire alarm, get out of here."
Yeah, and so you're right. She does end up going with him to a monk or like
Monastery?
a monastery.
Because she keeps like making fun and degrading Mr. Miyagi in the beginning of the film, and he does something to show that he knows martial arts.
So I do know the scene exactly.
Go
give
for
it to us.
They stop at a gas station. There's a bunch of rednecks on the other side of the pump.
man.
Mr. Miyagi gets out of the car, he's pumping gas, and he sees their dog. It's a German Shepherd, and the dog's just like, and then they're like, "Hey man, what'd you do to our dog?" And then they try to get into a fight with him, and he kicks their ass, all three of them.
Nice.
Hey! What the hell you think you're doing? Huh? Look at my dog. You turned him into a damn chicken.
Sometimes animals have more sense than human.
Yeah? Well, you watch your mouth, old man.
Come on, let's just get out of here.
You ain't going nowhere until I say so.
Hey, let girl go. Watch it, Ted.
What are you gonna do, old man? You gonna fight?
Fighting not good.
Mr. Miyagi!
Fighting not good. Somebody always get hurt.
He lays it down, and then she's like, "This guy's a badass."
And then she wants to be trained by him. It's like it completely turns a corner. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I've been the bitch this whole movie. I need you to teach me how to kick some ass, Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
And he takes her to this the Buddhist monastery thing, and she like becomes BFFs with like all the monks.
Well, she also has the same kind of
She's
moment
like, "What's
where-
your Instagram? What's your Twitter?"
No, they
Wanna
like
follow
they
you.
like throw her like a birthday party or something. Even like
Yeah, at the very end of it.
Yeah.
Oh, do they?
Well,
Yeah,
there's,
they
well, she has
love
to
her.
go through this like training scenes with the monks, and I think she has to like jump from a rock to another rock. It's like her big moment of like
Yes.
probably.
being sweet at karate somehow. I don't know how that makes her, but she's just learning the ways to like be calm because she has a temper.
Yeah.
and this is like the thing that's gonna.
So jumping back, and we
Please
probably
do.
already said this,
Yeah.
but like, why does Mr. Miyagi feel obligated to take her to this monastery?
I don't know if he's like he feels obligated to take her. I think he just thinks it'll help calm her down.
Okay.
Yeah, because she has such temper
Yeah,
Do you
'cause
remember
she's
her
so
name?
hot-headed.
in the movie. Because I think there's a moment where like, Mr. Miyagi meets up with the principal, and maybe she like is just. mad or
We'll
something
have
like
to
that.
make one up. I mean, this is like Rookie of the Year. We got to find a
Yeah.
name. I'm gonna say Allison.
Oh.
I don't know.
Alison-san.
Oh, that's good.
I was gonna
Not
say-
Allison, because you're right. That is a conflict right there, and they must have ironed that out in pre-production.
I was gonna say
Madison-san.
Samantha.
Okay,
Sammy-san.
you can call her Samsung, like the Samsung TVs.
Sam's.
But he wants to take her to help her essentially rehabilitate her temper.
It's like Daniel,
Yeah.
where he was like all mad all the time. Yeah, he focuses that into training for this, and it'll calm you down, and then you can have a Zen garden and live on. The
Maybe it's
West
even on
Coast.
the way to the monastery where that fight scene happens. I don't even know.
I think I think it is.
Okay.
And as soon as that happens, that fight scene happens, she's just like totally on board. She's like, "How did you do that? Like, where'd you learn that?" 'Cause she didn't know that he's like a martial arts guy or like into karate.
Yeah, he thinks she's just some old man who doesn't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
You don't get me. You're
You just knew my
another generation.
grandpa.
Yeah.
Right. She doesn't know that he has things that he can teach her.
She's like, old people don't understand me.
They don't like our music.
They even call back to some scenes in the first Karate Kid where she's like trying to catch flies with chopsticks, and I think she just uses like a fly swatter or something like that. So like, well, you just do this. What's the big deal? But then like Mr. Miyagi's like, oh,
yeah.
boy, it's easier. Boy, it's easier. Than girl.
Man, I'm kind of worried about like the sexism I'm going to see in this movie.
man.
Will it hold up?
But the monks even like get into the stuff that she's into. I think they're even listening to like a Walkman or something. At the end
She
of
brings
the
down this monastery.
Yeah, essentially. She's listening to music and they're like going along with it. But she just has to basically like clean the same way Daniel-san would wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
She has to go around the monastery, like just cleaning everything.
That makes sense.
Just really teaches you patience, the whole thing.
I think she's even cleaning like an entire church or
Does
cafeteria.
she
or
do like the
something.
iconic?
Even with like a toothbrush, maybe.
Oh
even.
man, does she do the crane kick? Does she do it?
Sort of. She does like a Super Saiyan version of it, where
What?
she like kicks like real high in the air, like a real
Ooh.
crazy split kick, and then like shoot from a low angle.
Ooh,
Don't
okay.
even see the ground, and just like this insane.
That's
thing,
pretty sweet.
Where
Yeah.
she jumps from the rock to the rock because they just gotta amp it to 11.
Yeah.
They gotta crank that thing up. But I think Daniel LaRusso could take her in a fight.
Oh,
by,
yeah.
By the end of the film.
mean,
You think so?
even from the first
Yeah.
movie.
I mean,
First movie, Daniel
first of all,
LaRusso.
he's like 5 years older than she is, and he probably weighs at least like 60 pounds more. I feel like he already has that training.
You
he's
think
gonna be
he
an
weighs
advantage,
60 pounds more than Hillary Swank?
at
I bet
least.
they weigh the same.
I bet they're exactly the same.
I bet they're exactly the
I bet
same.
they're exactly the same. She might even have a few on him because she is ripped in this
I
movie.
mean, I'm not
Yeah, and
doubting that.
he's
but-
like 5'2".
he is pretty small.
I'm gonna be a little annoyed with her bangs in the movie. That's a little bit of a side issue.
You're already prepared
I'm
yourself
already,
for that.
I'm already prepared to.
Yeah.
Like move those bangs out of your face, girl.
Write some notes for the hair
Gotta
portion
get
of
them,
this
gotta
podcast.
get them 90s bangs, bro.
So she gets out of the monastery and goes back to school, a changed person. It's like she's not even the same. Julie.
Julie!
Got it.
Oh,
I remember
nowhere.
I remember the boyfriend calling her that a bunch of times.
Okay.
Because she comes back and she's a lot nicer to him now, but they're still trying to settle stuff up with the ROTC guys.
Mm-hmm.
He even asks her to prom. I'm jumping ahead, but I know like Mr. Miyagi buys her a dress.
Yeah, he takes her to go get a dress.
No, he just flat out buys her one, and she like,
He's
opens it, and she's like, "Mr. Miyagi,
Oh.
it's you." Boo-boo-doo-boo."
He's like, oh yeah, you look real good in this dress.
"Now just cut those bangs, please."
She tries it on. It's like a wedding dress. She's like, I don't think this is exactly.
Now you
right.
Mr. Miyagi need visa. You must now marry Mr. Miyagi. Ring on, ring on.
Oh my gosh. Oh boy. That's a good
Green card.
Green card. Not making the podcast. It's not making the podcast.
Oh, it's going to. It's going to.
Everyone's no longer listening.
Okay.
I think the ROTC guys even trash her bird sanctuary.
Oh, they definitely do. They do something to it.
And they either let them all the birds out.
I think they let it. Yeah, I definitely think they let him go.
Yeah. They
But,
even like they find out that guy is like sweet on her, and they just tease him essentially out of the gang.
Yeah.
Now, is there like a final like fight scene?
So there's
or like a
there's
karate
like a dock.
scene?
They fight in a warehouse or a dock of some kind.
But this is an actual fight. It's not like same
this
thing as
is-
like the Karate Kid where they're going to a tournament.
No, this is
Right.
like just a brawl fight.
A
where,
legit fight.
Yeah,
well,
her
there's
and
two
Miyagi.
fights, essentially. There's
yeah.
one where Mr. Miyagi beats up Michael Ironside.
Yeah, I think they happen in like kind of reverse order. Where in this one
Well,
she
maybe that
beats
starts
up.
in the prom first, and then goes to the dock.
I think
maybe?
she beats up one of the ROTC guys, and then their leader shows up and is like, "Girl, you're just a girl." And Mr. Miyagi's like, "Oh, I'm not a girl. Come fight me."
Well, I think Julie beats up one of his best students. And
Yeah.
he's like, I ain't gonna be losing to no girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like, he like even sets a trap to like get Mr. Miyagi. Like he picks a fight with Mr. Miyagi like right out of the
Yes,
gate.
I think I absolutely think he
And
goes
I
out of his
think
way
he
to get.
wants to murder both of them. I
Wow.
would think.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
he
ultimately,
is-
maybe that's not like what. I mean, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
maybe
and
not
then Mr. Miyagi
explicitly
just gives
says
him
it.
like one karate chop and it's over.
Well,
I
he
mean,
yanks
like-
his nose.
Oh
his nose.
yes, that's right.
No. They actually have a fight. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr.
they
Miyagi
do.
and Michael Ironside. Could
This
be
guy
someone.
is like breeding them to be like Hitler Youth or something like that. Like this
Seriously.
guy's like a Nazi type guy. It seems.
old Ironsides.
Old Ironsides.
So yeah, essentially at the end, I mean, I'm sure they win.
She
Mr.
fights.
Miyagi's
She
the
fights
best.
in a prom dress. The boyfriend also does some fighting too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They team up. He gets his butt whooped, but then she ends up beating like the head bully. I'm pretty sure, almost with the same like kind of crane kicky thing.
Probably.
Maybe
So
some technique.
Maybe
that
she
learned.
jumps from one rock to another and then he falls into his death. because he can't jump the rocks.
There's a pit of lava that he just face plants
Yeah,
into.
right into. Oh, where did that come from? In Boston. Oh God.
So then, what? The prom happens, I guess, and
Yep. And they just
They
goes
go to
out to the
prom,
dance and-
and
yeah.
everything's
her
resolved.
and her boyfriend are okay until she goes to college.
She might even have some like friends who like want to be friends with, like maybe she's mean to her friends at the beginning and then she's like nicer at the end.
That could be. Yeah, like
Maybe
she's,
she's
someone-
she's calmed down.
ladies.
Yeah, someone
Maybe
warms up
she's
to
got
her.
like that best friend since childhood, and she drives away that friend during the movie, and at the end they reconcile.
Yeah.
It's just like that one best friend that since she was a kid.
Or
was
maybe the
like,
other way around, where that
"I
best friend
missed
like
you."
maybe she felt like her friend outgrew her in a way,
Oh, maybe
and maybe she came to terms with it.
that could be. And then she forgets all her karate training in the subsequent years because she doesn't keep it up.
Well, she $1 Million Baby some.
That's true. She does
Yeah.
have the $1 Million Baby eventually.
Does she ever get her hawk back or whatever it is?
Yes.
Yeah, I have to believe she does.
I think the boyfriend like tracks it down somehow,
Ooh.
but I forget how or why.
Yeah.
Or I know why. I forget how and.
And why?
I think I was trying to just say how again. It just kept coming out as why. I don't know how or how.
Or who? Or when?
But I think he almost gets like all of the birds back. It's like,
Oh, yeah?
It's like he was collecting them secretly without her knowing, and that's the turning point.
He's got
I
like
don't know why
30.
you're laughing at
No,
that.
I'm just imagining he's got like 30 birds, and she was just like, I only had 5. Like, who are all these?
Most of these are pigeons. These weren't the birds that were here
I
originally.
found your hawk. That's a pigeon.
They're all pigeons.
That's a parakeet you got from the store. Please return it.
Yeah.
The other hawk is going to eat that bird.
And then I imagine Mr. Miyagi goes back home
Probably.
in the very end there.
Yeah, the grandma comes home and she's like, "Mr. Miyagi, you gonna come visit again, or maybe you come to Okinawa?" And then they just make the Jackie Chan next Karate Kid movie instead.
I'm going to watch like 10 minutes of this one, then just switch to Karate Kid 2. I really want to watch that again.
So
do that
can we
one,
jump?
too.
Can we jump back like to those really quick? So obviously we know Karate Kid 1.
Yeah.
It all
Yeah,
takes
yeah.
place in California. Is number
Yes.
2 the one where they go to Japan?
They go to
Okinawa,
Okinawa, yep. Because like some relative died and they all go back for the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel-san goes with.
And he falls in love with a girl out there.
Yep.
Sure.
And then what's the third? What is the third one about?
It's just essentially the first one all over again.
Yeah.
But with the girl from Teen Witch as the girl.
Wait, what?
The girl from Teen Witch is Daniel LaRusso's love interest in that one.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought you were saying it was like the next Karate Kid
But
in a way.
Karate Kid 3.
Like that girl
Yeah.
was the.
Oh, no.
Mr. Miyagi trains another girl.
No, it's essentially a remake of the first movie.
Okay.
Almost beat for beat with a few changes. Like, but you almost see like a bad version of Daniel LaRusso in that third movie. Like the other villain like brings it out of him.
Oh wow.
I'm learning
Maybe-
stuff Mr. Miyagi would have never taught me. I'm learning how to break ice and punch heads. I like it. It's like Spider-Man 3 when Tobey Maguire goes to the dance hall.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 2's definitely my favorite.
And then Jackie Chan beats up a bunch of kids in the other one, the remake that no one saw, that everyone saw really, because it made a lot of money.
Yeah.
I just refused to see it.
Yeah, it made like a boatload of money.
Yeah, it made
so much money.
see that movie?
I didn't watch it.
Why did everyone go see that?
I didn't watch that movie.
I don't want to see that.
I did look up how much this movie grossed.
$7 from Brad Jones back in '96. That's for certain.
Any guesses? Okay, I'll give you.
I may even bought a popcorn.
Karate Kid 1 was about 80 million, I think. Karate Kid 2 was like 101. And then Karate Kid 3, I think they said
That was
was
probably a
like
dip.
50 or something.
And this
That's
one
still
was
decent.
probably around the same amount.
No, this one I think was like 8 million.
Oh.
It was like terrible.
But I really like when it comes to it. Like I think I saw this before any of the other Karate Kid movies.
Really?
I
Well,
saw
yeah,
the next
you're an
one.
adolescent boy. You want to see the one with a lady in it.
Right, but I think it like came out at a time when like my grandpa would have shown this movie to me or something like that. He would have went out and rented it or bought it, and so like it would have been, you know, it
It would have
happened.
been the one that was more readily available on cable television
Right,
or in
right.
VHS or
This was
Whereas like
definitely-
the other like Karate Kid 1 happened the year before I was born, so it's like I would have had to have someone just say like, "Oh, this is a great movie. You should check it out." Like
Yeah.
the next Karate Kid came out when I was like 7 or something like that.
Gotcha. No,
So
I
just,
definitely saw 1 and 2 first. Because I think my parents just taped them off TV on
Yep,
the VHS.
that's how I
and
saw
that's how I
him. Taped
saw
off
them.
HBO.
Yeah. I didn't see this one until way later. Because I was like, girls are gross. Who needs girls?
All right. Any last next Karate Kid?
There's a moment
Moments.
where she sees like medals that he won or something like that. There's like a connection story about his past and how he knew her dad or whatever. They have like a big connection
Who's
there.
her grandpa? She's not that old, Brad.
Grandpa, maybe.
Does
Maybe even her parents.
Danielson ever make it in this movie?
No.
No, he's
I don't
not
even
at
know
all.
if the word Danielson gets said. Wow. It may be zero
I don't think it
times.
does. I think he just mentions a boy twice. Like, he mentions, I trained a boy and that boys are easier.
Okay. I'm just wondering, like, how many Danielsons are there out there? You know, like, how many like high school people has he like trained
Mentored and over the years.
Yeah, like I mean, there's got to be like so many different like potential karate kids out there that he's trained.
But it seems, I thought they alluded to in like the first one that he used to run a dojo.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm making that up.
When is Daniel LaRusso gonna or Ralph Macchio gonna get old enough where he can play Mr. Miyagi in a remake of this movie? 30 more years, maybe.
Is he going to do a Mr. Miyagi?
I don't think he
impression
has
the whole
30
time?
more years in him.
Oh boy, that's sad news. I will say that this is like the first like version of trying to turn boy movies into girl movies. We're just like recasting it. Before the Ghostbusters did it.
What year was this?
96.
95-ish? 96? you think?
96. I
Yeah,
think.
okay.
Whatever the year Toy Story came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, then 95.
95 then. And just putting, they tried and it failed, but I liked
did.
it.
With this one?
Yeah.
I think this is successful.
Oh,
Probably like
box office wise.
Box office wise.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I know it's
They just can't turn boy movies into girl movies. Not even in the 90s. They tried to do it 20 years later with Ghostbusters. Couldn't do it then.
Well,
No.
there's a level of sexism that
I
comes
enjoyed
into play
the
with
new
this, I
Ghostbusters
think.
movie.
Oh,
if you want to
boy.
get real serious. But I think this movie's solid.
You haven't seen it yet.
You're making that
You're not even
prediction
know.
now. You're gonna say
It's usually a second part
yeah, I was gonna say usually
thing.
you. It's,
Oh, no,
we're gonna
this
see when you
movie
come back. You're gonna be like, oh boy, you're just gonna be like Homeward Bound again. You're gonna be
Oh, my
like, this
God.
movie was.
I
the
know
worst.
she's a real B, and that might turn me off. And then those bangs are gonna turn me off. But after she likes Mr. Miyagi, I think I'll be on board. For the movie.
I'm just ready to see that gas station scene and see how well I remembered it.
very nice.
It's gonna be at a Target, the parking lot of a Target, where it happens, not in the gas station at all.
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi used the hose in the gas station to light the guys on fire. It gets real dark.
It's kind of like the opening of Zoolander, but like the dark version.
I'm just curious to finally see this again because every time I try to picture these scenes, I always see Amy Jo Johnson instead of Hilary Swank for some reason.
You want to put Amy Jo
I
Johnson in
wish
this
Amy
movie.
Jo Johnson was in this.
Who is Amy Jo
She
Johnson?
played the
Pink
Pink
Power
Ranger.
Ranger.
Oh, Kimberly?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
You're like, oh, I know Kimberly. Come on, dog.
You guys didn't say Kimberly. I mean, we're on a first name basis.
We named the color. Jesus, I feel like that's easier to remember.
Nah.
You're like, I got Kimberly all up in here.
Nah, she puts that motorcycle helmet on, and then I'm just like, who is it?
The Power Ranger helmet?
Yeah. Come on, it's just a motorcycle helmet.
I doubt that would protect you in a crash on a motorcycle.
That's true. It's the it's like just like the cotton version of it.
Are we gonna do Turbo Power Rangers movie?
Oh, we
Is that
should.
what
I
we
could
have to
totally do
now?
Power Rangers Turbo.
We'll wait for the sequel to come out,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
and then do that one instead. Do that. And
I
that
mean, we
one.
could do Mighty
do
Morphin
both.
Power Rangers.
Isn't that the one I'm talking about?
Is that?
Well, there's Power Rangers the movie
With
and
Ivan Ooze?
Power Rangers Turbo, which are both Power Ranger movies.
Which one is the one?
I want the
that's
one with
coming
Ivan
out?
Ooze.
The one coming out, I think, is just Power Rangers.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about that.
I want the one with Ivan Ooze.
That's Power Rangers the movie.
I want that one.
Okay. Mighty Morphin.
That's the
Power
one where they
Rangers.
get dinosaur Zords.
Whoa! Spoiler. Hold on, we gotta remember that one now.
Come on, guys.
Dinosaurs.
Let's go. I'm gonna go get the VHSs right now.
Join us in part 2. We try to remember what we got right, what we got wrong, for the next Karate Kid. And the next part
And
of the next Karate Kid. The next part.
Nailed it.
Congratulations, Julissa.
Congratulations? That's all you're gonna say is congratulations? Don't I get a belt or something?
I belt more.
No! I mean a karate belt! Brown belt, black belt!
Why need the belt?
So everyone knows I'm good!
You know you good. That's the important thing.
Oh, come on. Even Elvis Presley got a black belt.
Borrow from Elvis next time, see.
Welcome back to the Karate Waltz podcast. We watched The Next Karate Kid.
It was slow.
I watched it in pieces.
Yeah, I mean, you almost have to. It is a really slow movie.
Yeah, I watched it probably 30-minute chunks, so it felt like a TV show to me.
I did watch it all the way through, but like when I say slow, I mean like all the fight scenes, which were like one, maybe two, were very, very slow fighting.
Yeah, there's one fight.
I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen the first three even, but there were so many times I'm just like, I was like cringing watching this movie because
there are several homages or like echoes of those movies in this movie that just like were not the same.
he does say Daniel-san, which
One time.
we were
time.
trying to figure out if he actually mentions it by name.
Well, it's when he walked in on Hilary Swank putting clothes on. She was like in a bra or something like that. She was putting a shirt on. He just walked right in and she was like, "Don't you knock," and like close the door. And he felt like really bad. And then he says some line which Brad you had said in the part one where it's like boys are easier.
Boy, much easier.
He's like, I used to work with someone named Daniel-san.
Without any context for Hilary Swank, his explanation sounds really weird. Where he's like, I used to live with like a young boy. We just walk into each other's rooms all the time.
1994 was a
probably while we're
different era,
naked too. And it wasn't a big deal. Like
Boys were easier to get together
Yeah,
with.
right. Oh man, it really sounded kind of weird without the context of
I mean,
the
what does he mean by
previous
boys are
films.
easier?
Oh,
That
you know
line
what he
doesn't even.
means.
I do know.
Oh boy.
I do know, but I don't know if the writer knew.
This movie came out in 1994. Hilary Swank's parents are dead. They have a car accident.
In real life?
No,
Oh.
in the film we were talking about.
Oh yeah. That one.
What was her name again in the...
Julie.
Julie. So Julie's parents are dead, and
What?
she's living with her grandma.
Yeah, and she's just a B to her grandma for no
She
good
is.
reason.
She's
a
the
sass.
quintessential like angry high school girl.
And she's not even that angry or upset about anything. She's just yelling at her grandma for no reason.
Yeah, she's just mad at the world for no reason.
Well, she hasn't coped with the death of her parents. I think that's what they're getting at. But you're right. Her grandma is like supportive.
Yeah, very nice.
And there's no reason why she's like
She
lashing out at her in particular.
She does have to go to a really messed up high school. Like, what the heck is up with the Alpha Squad, or whatever they're called?
Yeah, they're like the
Alpha Elite.
ROTC people
The Alpha
or
Elite.
something.
They're not even. Yeah, they're not even. They're called the Alpha Elite, and then like their leader guy is clearly just an oppressive overlord. I'm not clear what his position is with the school.
Well, he's also on the police force.
He, like,
'Cause
straight-
he shows up in a scene where he's like in a cop car, like taking.
he just has one from the school, of course.
doesn't make
He's got to feel
doesn't make a lot
important.
of sense.
But like when she's in trouble and the principal's like, I think she's okay, and he's like, no, this won't happen again. The guy was like, okay, it won't happen again. Like, is he just intimidating the school principal, or is he above the principal?
I think what most upset me in this movie was the Alpha Elite leader guy. He just wants to rape her.
Oh man,
That's
the
like
scene
his thing he wants
the high
to
school
do.
student or
Ned.
the okay.
where he like straight
Ned
up
the
like
bully.
almost assaults her in like the little greenhouse thing.
Right at the
early
beginning,
on.
right out of the gate.
beginning. That was really
I'm
disturbing.
telling you, when I said in the first part there were some rapey vibes,
Oh, you
there
weren't
were.
joking.
There were.
He was like incredibly sexually aggressive, threatening her with violence unless she like basically went out with him. But we all know that was code.
So what my movie rewrite for this is just have it be a girl bully. Have it switch all the roles to the female version if you're gonna do that.
I dig
that way
it.
they don't. That's the rape vibe doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
avoid it. Yeah, you
she's
can
just
avoid it
like
altogether.
a cheerleader or just like
and
some
then she
sassy
ends up
brat.
fighting like the
a girl at the end. It makes
Yeah.
doesn't that make sense to me?
Yeah.
Doesn't that-
I think it makes
doesn't that
sense.
Get it? They can even become friends because. She doesn't have any friends at this school.
Nope.
And apparently, like, all the attention is put on her, too. In classes, from teachers, from the principal, from the students. Everybody, it's like Julie's in her own world in here, and no other students exist in this
very
high
true.
school.
Yeah, and it's like they don't even like care that she lost her parents, and like don't even care to like help her out through
Nope.
this time.
Well, the principal seemed like he was willing to be lenient with her, and then
So I don't get that. Like the principal or the superintendent would be the person that runs all the programs in the school and makes them work. So like, why does he?
and then Michael Ironsides is like, "We will expel her."
What
He's
class,
like,
like
what
basically-
class is Michael Ironside teaching?
right? He seems just sort of like a gym coach, but they talk about like all the Alpha Elite's like a big deal and helps you get into good colleges or
Is
something.
there a high school karate team that I just missed out
Like,
on
oh
in
my
high school that I could have
I
joined?
don't know.
And he is so invested in the role of training these high school kids to kill things. Like he straight up says, like, we have to go all the way. Like, if there's a criminal, you kill him. We don't use the justice
He's
system.
the leader of a Project Mayhem.
Yeah.
Yes, he really
inside
it's
this high school.
terrifying.
But basically, like the
has a lot of
principal or
problems.
the superintendent would be the one that said the okay for this program. Like,
Yeah.
is he not paying attention to what Michael
He's too
Ironside
scared
is
of Michael
doing
Ironsides
as a teacher?
to say no. He's like, that guy's gonna come to my house and he will kill me. This is what he will do.
It's probably true.
It's definitely true.
There's only one bird in the movie.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
like
And
a whole.
it never
bird
gets
thing.
lost. It just, or like it gets misplaced for a minute.
That was a
I
really
thought it,
funny-
Like, flew away, but just. So let me talk about the bird for a
Sure,
minute.
go for it.
Crisis of the bird was so stupid.
So Hillary Swank keeps sneaking off from Mr. Miyagi, from her classes, from everybody, to go to the top of this school where this bird is. Where I guess there's a bird cage up there because she says a janitor used to store pigeons in some throwaway exposition line. And the bird has a hurt wing that I guess it was shot.
It
she
got
says?
shot, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's just going up there to just to talk to the bird because she has no one else. She doesn't have friends.
It's her therapist. Yeah.
Yeah, it's her.
Basically,
She
yeah.
doesn't talk to anybody but this bird, and eventually she has to leave to go to the monastery. And the dude Eric, I think was his name. Yeah,
Yeah.
the guy was 24 years old. I looked up his age at the time. He has like 30-year-old haircut.
He also looks like he like skipped a decade. Like he like skipped from 83 to like 93.
He very much did not leave the 80s.
He played Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat 2. So he
Oh,
was
wow.
the bad Johnny Cage.
Oh, boo.
The one that died in like 10 seconds?
Yeah, like the very beginning.
And this bird, it's just causing her problems.
Yeah.
This is the big thing. She keeps sneaking out. She's missing homework for some reason. Like she's never really.
Yeah.
Is she ever in class during this film?
Like,
No.
okay,
She's always just cutting.
This grandma did not. She could not apparently figure out how to handle the girl because, yeah.
Why does the grandma go to Mr. Miyagi's? Why doesn't? Here's my fix. Another fix for the movie. Julie goes to Mr. Miyagi's place. It's a better setting. It's that sweet Asian house that he owns.
Yeah, in LA.
She'd be a fish out of water. It would make sense for her not to have friends.
She's
See,
away
I
from the
think-
alpha
to have the
elite?
I'm going to argue the other side because I think what their intention was to make Mr. Miyagi the fish out of water.
They didn't do that good enough. I was hoping for a Doc Brown storyline, like Back to the Future 3 style. You know how Back to the Future 3 is a Doc Brown movie, if you look at it?
Yeah.
I wanted a Mr. Miyagi movie, and I thought I was going to get it, but I didn't get it. I wanted Eric maybe to have a grandma that Mr. Miyagi could have, like, hooked up, like,
Oh, that would've been
had a
good.
fling with.
Yeah.
Like, have him sort of, oh.
Yeah.
I wanted him to have maybe a love
could dig
relationship
that.
thing, but his arc was just dealing with Julie?
Mr. Miyagi's?
Yeah, what was Mr. Miyagi's like true arc in the film? Because in the first, I'm talking a lot, but in the first film, it gets resolved because he's kind of a shut-in. He doesn't want to deal with anybody. He doesn't
Yep.
want to deal with Daniel-san. But eventually, like he gets compassion and starts remembering that he's like a nice guy, and he even like trains him and like
Yeah.
supports him. He kind of comes out of his shell. But in this movie, he's already out of his shell.
Well, and then in Karate Kid 2, he like goes and deals with his past with his family. He goes
Correct.
back to Okinawa and deals with that. And Daniel-san kind of comes along and gets to learn that stuff. So they're both growing in those movies. This movie very much, it felt like they tried to do fish out of the water because they're like, oh, let's take him, move him to Boston. But then most of the movie, I feel like he spends with those monks who are
Yeah,
exactly
Those
like
are
him.
the fish out of
They're
water.
exactly the
characters.
same as him. So he's like, well, I'll take you out for another town. So I'm like, so you managed to find your area of Boston and not have to deal with actually adjusting to being in a different place.
Correct. I wanted more Miyagi arc, and I didn't get it.
Yeah, you're right. There is no arc for Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
He's literally just doing a favor. He's paying a debt for this family, basically, because Louise, the grandma, she was married to someone that he fought in the war with,
Yeah.
and apparently this guy saved his life, so he's, like, indebted to this family. But, like, that is all, like, thrown at you, like, right away.
Rapid fire.
You just have to, like, just, like, ignore a lot of stuff, a lot of exposition, and just move past it in a way.
Julie should have like a sexy older Asian teacher who also like dabbles in dancing or martial arts. That Mr. Miyagi's like, ooh, look at that. Who's that person? Like even the scene where like Mr. Miyagi gets her homework. That could have been a scene where he like talks to the teacher and like
Yeah.
it's, you know,
That's
gets a
that's
number.
not.
and-
See, there's so many things that could have easily made this a better movie.
Honestly, like when they went to the monastery, like that whole
I
scene.
loved it. I love that part.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
I liked it, but I
the
thought
ca-
it was like way too long. Like they spent so much time on that it kind of took away from other
They did.
possibilities.
It does feel like half the movie. It's.
I did feel like Julie's character develops through. So, in the first half of the movie, it's just characters explaining things to each other and
Yeah.
not showing them. They're just like using exposition. When she finally goes to the monastery, there's this scene where she has her shoes facing a different way and she just adjusts them to be correct. And it's like, oh, that's the moment where she realizes that it's all not about her and she needs to start paying better attention, being a better person.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, finally, you're showing and not telling movie.
Yeah.
I loved it.
The school itself is just so messed up in this book. I can't even get past. Like the bungee jumping into the prom.
That was
What was that
totally
about?
irrelevant. I didn't get
It was
that at all.
It was like the colonel guy was mad that there was a prom. I'm like, how long have you been working at this high school? That's what they do.
That's Project Mayhem.
That's like
Yeah. So just to give you guys some explanation,
Yeah.
there's a prom going on, and then out of nowhere, two guys, part of the Alpha Elite, jump from the rafters on bungee cords, and
they like smash the little photo
they
set.
they smash like a
One of those little wooden
it's like
arches.
a
yeah, like a
gazebo.
gazebo,
like,
yeah.
gazebo, yeah.
yeah, pergola
Yeah.
kind of thing.
And then there's like no real explanation about like what they were doing, like
there-
what
there-
the purpose was.
There is, and like Eric goes up to one of the guys because he like quit Alpha Elite at this point, but he's still like, oh man, like, and the guy broke his arm
Yeah.
doing this bungee jump. He's like, oh man, guy, you okay? He's like, oh, I think my arm is broke. And then Eric tells the leader guy like, what are you doing? Like these guys just got hurt. Like this was really dangerous. And the leader guy's just like, mind your business. This
Yeah,
is
he's
Alpha
like, he's
Elite
fine.
stuff. And I'm like, the Alpha Elite guys just trashed their own school's dance, which is like a school function. Again, where's the administration at this school?
There's no administration.
don't
There's not even a
understand.
teacher in sight. Did you recognize one of the Alpha Elite?
I
Yes.
did.
Walter Goggins?
Yes,
Yes,
Walter,
from
young
The Shield.
Walter
Yeah,
Goggins.
Walter Goggins is in this
shit-
movie.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe when I saw it. He has like one line too, like right near the end.
Yep.
I was like,
He has the moment in
in the last fight.
It's the echo of the first movie where he's like, he's had enough. I want to stop beating this guy up.
Yeah.
Which is what happens in the.
I did originally write a note that there was no black people in the Alpha Elite, but then there was just one black person in the back. I wanted to make a point of that. I was just like, this seems like a weird like neo-Nazi like type group. But then there was one black person in the background.
Should have been all ladies. Should have been an all lady fight team.
I think that would have been a
Martial
really
arts
cool.
thing.
I think would have made this movie work better. But instead,
they still could have had like a mean, grumpy Michael Ironside. Could have still been
Yeah.
the guy for Mr. Miyagi to have a antagonist. But
They needed like an event. Like that's where it went wrong. Like the Alpha Elite should be like performing something or doing something that gets
right, there's no
stopped
karate
or-
tournament equivalent.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're
It's
just
literally
mean
just
for
a
being
dockside fight.
Yeah, it is, and he straight up says like, "Oh, that's also one of the line when he's being really aggressive to her in the greenhouse, and it was really uncomfortable. He's just like, "How about you and me go to the docks?" And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like this is
this
just
the
really
50s?
bad. Like, I don't know, but like, and then there's the big crisis with the bird, where like she left and had Eric take care of the bird,
And
I
then
guess
the bird's missing.
on the
but
very last day of Eric taking care of this
Yeah.
bird, the guy finds
Ned.
out about the bird and just
Ned the bully.
he just
Yeah.
gives it to a shelter. Like,
Yep.
he doesn't like kidnap it and hold it hostage.
Ned the bully gives it to a shelter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, haha, joke's
Oh, yeah,
on you.
yeah.
I gave it to a shelter. It's probably dead already. And I'm like, I don't think he understands how shelters work, especially with something like a falcon, which is usually a protected species.
He did what Julie should have done when she found the Falcon.
Yeah, and
Or
Mr.
whatever.
Miyagi was even like,
And she's
it's
like,
time to let this thing go.
she's like, oh no, the shelter. And then they go and just pick the bird up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the big conflict.
And the bird can just fly away anyway.
Yep,
So
yep.
the shelter didn't even check to see if it was fine. Like the shelter could have like just let the bird go, and Julie Silent would have got there and be like, "Where's the bird?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, the bird was fine the whole time."
Yeah,
Wait, so how did she
apparently
get the
keeping in
bird
prison.
back?
She just went to the shelter
at
and was
the
like,
animal
that's
shelter.
my
Does
bird.
this shelter just like give animals
They're
away
like, oh,
like
this
willy-nilly?
is your falcon. Like, you just have a falcon. I don't know, but apparently the shelter didn't, like, it was still wearing the same like bandage she'd put on its wing. I was like, this shelter didn't even give the bird a checkup. And then Mr. Miyagi does his hand thing, and he's like, well, I fixed the falcon
Yeah, to get
because that's
echoed
how
in
it
the
works.
first film.
And
That's how he fixes Daniel San's back
I
or leg or whatever.
So I don't know what Mr. Miyagi's purpose was until
Until
she was almost hit by a car and she went into tiger position.
Yes.
That is the moment where I think, like, after that, he's like, he wants to learn a little bit more about her. She knew a little bit of karate, which you get some backstory that Mr. Miyagi taught her grandfather, which taught her father, which taught her.
And I think that was, I think the idea behind it was that Mr. Miyagi suddenly realizes he has common ground, because up to then he kept being like, girls are weird every time that like they had any interaction. And so finally he's like, oh, okay, I see an opening. And yeah, that's when he's just like, I'll teach you to fight if you babysit these kids.
And
That scene was so strange. I mean, I know they were trying to like put a fun moment in the movies. She like babysits these kids, and you have a montage where she's playing Nerf like fights with them.
As a kid, I liked that scene in the movie.
Yes, I agree with you.
I had like
as an adult,
it
feels very
man.
weird in contrast to other scenes before.
Yeah, I
it.
think it was supposed to represent the start of her being less mad, because she's mad when she goes over and she's like, ugh, these stupid little kids, and then she learns to have fun with them and teaches them that she's much better at Nerf wars than they are. But it felt very out of place. It also sort of felt like just a big Nerf commercial. But
Yeah.
and like Mr. Miyagi even says
Nerf ball,
even says
Nerf
Nerf balls.
Nerf.
Yeah, like he's got a whole bin of
I did want to jump back to when she does almost get hit by a car and that pizza delivery guy.
I
comes
love
out.
that pizza
He was
delivery
my favorite
guy.
character in the
He was
entire
great.
movie.
I loved him.
Wow, I'm really sorry. Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm really sorry. She came out of nowhere, man. I didn't even see her.
You're not hurt?
I said I was okay.
Hey, look. I'm really... Listen, man, I'm really sorry. I just got to deliver this pizza down the road, and my boss has been kind of on my case, you know? And I've been having trouble with...
Judy-san?
I got to go. I'm sorry. Are you sure you're okay? 'Cause I got to go. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, so
He
she
has
like
so much development. in
I
this
know!
little
He
scene.
had 3 lines. You got so much backstory. He's like, my boss is always on my back. He's on my case. He's like, I'm sorry, man. I gotta deliver these pizzas.
was
And he was
so
like out
worried.
of there.
Oh man! So did she just like run out into the street, or did she get like
She was upset.
running.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she was upset, so she ran away. And yeah, the guy just screeches to a halt, and she jumps on his hood. Yeah,
And then
he
she
was
runs
so
back into
funny.
the house when she gets... It was so funny
Yep.
because she was running away, almost gets hit by a car, and then Mr. Miyagi comes out to check on her, and she gets so mad that she runs back into the house.
She's like, I know I did something wrong. Bah. It was that pizza guy though was so sincere in his fear of losing his job and
he
almost
was
hitting the girl
great.
and worried about the pizza still being warm.
He was so good.
That guy was really committed. I needed more of him. I also thought all the scenes with Eric at the train yard were really weird.
I liked the setting of those.
Yes, I
but
thought the yard itself was cool.
but things were weird, yeah.
But it felt like they were trying to put way too much character into Eric, and I felt like he didn't need that much character. Like they're giving like my dad used to work at this train yard.
Yeah.
And now I stand on the trains and look wistfully into the sunset.
He does have a sweet
Yeah, that's
car,
why the
though.
movie was like
And-
2 hours long
I was like, why
for no reason.
does this scene need to be here? Why can't we just establish that she actually likes Eric and he's actually a nice guy? I don't know why we need these weird train scenes.
I don't know. It's just a
I
cool
feel
setting.
like
I
they
did
just thought it was a
like-
cool location.
Yeah, the
and
location
kinda wrote it
scout
in.
just like saw that and was like, "We can use this train."
And I can dig that because the train yard was very cool, and I liked when he was talking to her while walking on the train.
That was
like that
good.
was a cool
Yeah.
scene
Yeah.
where he, like, and she tells him to watch out when there's like a gap, but he's
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh look, I've been doing this forever, so I'm fine."
Yeah, I don't think he was like quite the right actor to play the role. I'm sure they could have got someone better, but so like she gets caught, like she gets into this argument with one of the Alpha Elite guys going way back, and he like says that he caught her smoking, which is a lie, and
Yeah.
so then Eric is like given this role to take care of her, watch over her, to get to her next class. I did like in that moment where like once he found out that she had this falcon, like he was kind of playing like, I don't know, like he was kind of playing it off like
he was kind of teasing her,
he
like
was
he was
teasing her,
gonna
and
be
I
a
thought that was
regular
like
alpha. Yeah,
that whole sequence was well written.
I thought that was really, I think you're totally right. I don't think I appreciated it at the time, but I think you're
Yeah.
right. Like he
Like, she
really
was
does
so
kind of play
worried
like
about
she's
the
so worried,
Falcon.
and he gets why she's worried because like the Alpha Lead have this reputation, but he like so he's kind of teasing her about it, which is a little mean, but I mean it makes sense.
yeah, I mean he was
And
like he was
It was playful, like he's a genuinely nice guy who wasn't actually gonna
right.
do
So she
anything.
follows him all the way back to the train station where he starts working, and you get a little bit of backstory there, but I don't think we need it at all.
There was one weird moment. So after she gets in trouble after being framed for smoking because the one guy was creepily coming onto her sexually, that when she's in the principal's office and the guy tells and Ironsides tells the principal that this will not happen again or she's expelled forever.
Wait, he tells her that? He tells the
tells
principal
the
that?
He tells the principal to tell her that,
Yeah.
basically.
Oh my god.
This
This principal is so weak.
That's when, like, she makes eye contact with Eric, and they're kind of looking at each other like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? And then it shows Michael Ironsides noticing this, and I was like, oh, no, now he knows that she likes him, so they're going to... And then he's like, Eric, please take care of this girl. And I was like, is Ironsides trying to throw him a bone? Like I thought he was going to, like, try to sabotage that relationship because he saw it was something she liked, and he just hated her. But he ends up, like, seeing them looking at each other and be like, yeah, all right, works for me. It just seemed like a weird kind of out of place moment because they play it off like it's going to become another point of conflict.
Yeah, you called the gas station scene.
Oh, yes,
I
you
just
nailed
like
it.
that was like something I just remembered. I have
You
no
nailed
idea
that.
why.
That gas attendant was useless.
Mr.
Like,
Miyagi.
why were they all like ready to just like
They were ready to
kill him and rape her or something like that?
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
they
she's
just-
getting raped by everybody in this movie.
yeah,
That's
This
true.
is
She's getting
why
like mind raped by everybody.
Just
in the-
cast a few more ladies as villains, movie,
Right.
and this problem
It
doesn't have
was-
to be in.
It's like they had 2 women in the movie, and then they were immediately like, "We need to fly this one out to California. and
Yeah,
get her
but I
out of
mean,
this movie."
It's supposed to be like rural Massachusetts, but these guys are like down home rednecky dudes that are like, oh, a foreign guy.
They all
Let's
have
beat
no,
him up. Like,
yeah, it's like they all have no jobs. They just hang out at their friend's gas station in the middle of.
well, Mr. Miyagi
Nowhere.
Jedi mind tricks the dog.
yeah.
Into becoming just an obedient pacifist dog, I guess.
He turns him into a good
Yeah,
dog.
he's like, "What did you do to my dog?" Like,
It's like
you
nothing.
made him
I treated your dog with respect and love.
like he's a wimp now or something like that. Like after like 30 seconds.
We'll talk about the monastery a little bit, because almost
Sure.
the entire movie takes place in
So
this
yeah, it's
monastery.
like, at least half this movie is at the monastery.
She wakes up in her socks, which bothered me, because who sleeps in their socks? Come on.
I do if it's cold.
I
out.
do
You
in the
do?
wintertime.
Yeah, if it's cold, I will.
Come on. She almost kills a cockroach, which like upsets the monastery people.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
they turn against her at that point in the movie. And to make up for it, she catches a praying mantis.
Didn't understand
Yes,
it.
And just hands it back.
Takes a
to
praying
them.
mantis out of its natural habitat and brings it back to the monastery. And
And
they
then he says, "Now you're getting it,"
yeah,
or something like
he
that.
loved it. Like, yeah, she hands him that thing, and he was so thrilled that she brought him that praying mantis. I mean, praying mantises are cool, but
This scene's slightly different to me, too, because the DVD kept skipping during this exact scene. So I had to keep taking it out and cleaning it and trying it again. So I had to see this girl take this praying mantis at least 5 times.
That's so
from
frustrating.
This flower.
Oh my God.
And she like runs like crazily through the field, like this big purple field.
The
in
field
slow
looked
motion.
amazing though.
she runs weird in general. I don't know if maybe that was just me, but I feel like she was running kind of like with this weird like.
Well, her clothes
arms
don't
half
fit
down
her.
thing.
She can't run very well.
it was
Her
strange.
hair's always in the way.
Yeah.
There are things other than her attitude that need to get fixed with this poor
But she,
girl.
yeah, once at the monastery, she really starts to dedicate herself to learning to jump from the one rock to the other rock with a cool flying roundhouse kick.
Arguably, she does not learn karate at all in this movie.
Well, she already knew some, I guess, was kind of like they're out for
Subliminally.
She just
that.
needed a refresher course.
Yeah, she got like the Cliff Notes karate.
They also didn't expose that part of the film correctly when she's doing that leap. It's like noticeably a lot darker than the rest of the movie, if you hadn't noticed, because they did like a slow motion, and they just have to. You have to light that differently. You have to use a lot more light when you're doing slow motion, and I guess they just didn't care, just
Yeah.
didn't do it.
There were 3 or 4 times they did slow motion. I was like, why is this scene in slow motion? It was like someone getting out of a car and it was in slow motion. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Doing?
This is
Were they just trying to slow it down because they didn't have enough footage to make this scene make sense? Or
And then she upends the monastery in the end by exposing them to music and to Western culture.
She's playing music in their big dance hall area. I
While
guess,
she,
is like a
she's like
place.
training to the music.
And she thinks she's upset them, but then the monks turn the music back on and they start dancing. And
Yeah.
that's a pretty great scene, I think.
And she
Everyone just
and-
starts
oh,
dancing
and after the
together.
cockroach thing, they didn't eat with her. They would like refuse to eat.
Yeah,
it
they
with
didn't even
her.
look at her.
Yeah, so she thought they were mad at her the whole time, and finally at the end they throw her a birthday party.
She gets one gift and one wish. Yes.
Yes.
What is the gift and what is the wish?
The wish was that the monks would come back to her place.
Which leads to an awesome scene that we'll talk about in a second.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
I don't know what the gift
The gift was an arrow that Mr. Miyagi catches out of the air.
For some reason, just to show how what a BA
because he's
he
so
is.
good, yeah. They like shoot an arrow and he just snatched her out of the air and they're like, here's an arrow.
Wait, so how's that a gift?
They got to see a performance. She got to see.
And now she has
Miyagi.
she owns an arrow.
Oh,
It's a weapon.
Okay.
Yeah,
She
I
just
ca-
wanted to see a performance.
Yeah, and there could have been like a Chekhov's bow there, like where she could have been trained to use this weapon.
Yeah, I almost
and then
I
used
expected
later in the
that to
movie,
be a
which didn't
thing,
happen
but-
because that would have put a nice twist on this movie. Because the other Karate Kid films, he's not. I think he uses nunchucks maybe, but he's not actively
I think
using
both
weapons.
of the movies have like like in the second one they have the little drums,
Mm-hmm.
which they kind of like come back to and then like motivate him in the final fight. And
Yeah, there's no bow and arrow scene in the end of this film, which maybe they was and they just
he maybe got written
rid
out or
of it?
something at some point.
because that would be cool if she was just like the Hunger Games Katniss Everdeen style, just
Yeah.
good with a bow and arrow.
But we do need to talk about the bowling alley.
Are you okay, Andy? Did the bowling alley upset you or excite you?
No.
because it excited me.
It was like the one point in this film where I was having genuine fun with this movie.
So the gift pays off. The monks in the monastery come to visit Julie while she's at the prom.
Yes.
While she's at the prom, Mr. Miyagi takes them
on a night on the town.
The one thing they want to do, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to do this," but they end up doing it anyway. Is going bowling.
Yeah.
And there's this blonde comb over 40-year-old white guy
Oh my God.
in the bowling alley that for some reason eggs on these monks into a
He's
bowling
like the aggressive
competition.
bowling alley bully because every building has to have its own bully in these films.
$1 a point, and the monks just wipe the floor with him in another bowling montage.
Including the best scene where one of them bowls straight into the gutter and it jumps out of the gutter.
Yes.
And I hate to be a stickler for bowling rules, but that doesn't count.
It doesn't.
When a
As soon
ball
as
goes
it's-
into the gutter, it is 0 points.
I also thought that the little ramp they put in the gutter to throw the ball back out was really obvious. I don't know. I mean,
Oh, I wasn't looking.
yeah, there's like a wedge of wood that they stuck in the gutter that pops the ball back out, and it was just like glued in there.
got a strike though, so they had to do a couple takes. I
Oh, I'm
bet.
sure they did.
Oh my God.
But
This was like the day off for the crew. Hey, we're shooting at this bowling alley. Everybody,
it
come
was like a
out.
rapping party.
Yep.
Yeah.
They budgeted the rap party into the movie. I'm gonna go ahead and make
Like,
that claim.
that producer was efficient. Like, hey,
And even this guy gets turned into the good side.
Yeah.
Because the monastery, the monks give him the ability to bowl blindfolded, and he gets a strike right away. He like passes out their secrets
they like
somehow.
they win over like the whole bowling alley. Like everyone has the best time with the weird monks that live outside of town. And I mean, I can't blame them. I think that'd be a lot of fun too if you're at the bowling alley and these dudes showed up and had this crazy competition. But that scene was
They
great.
have like 200 people watching them bowl too.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's a big deal.
That's what happens at bowling alleys. When two
I can't remember the last time.
Every time, that's why.
But that was pretty great.
So I also like the scene where Mr. Miyagi's trying to buy Julie the dress,
Yes,
and there's kind of a snooty dress salesman who's in like at first it sounds like Mr. Miyagi's buying a dress for himself.
Want to buy dress. Formal dance, very important.
Of course. Well, as you see, we have all sorts of styles. Do you like an A-line, or do you like a T-length, or do you like off the shoulder?
Miyagi like everything, but the dress not for me. Dress for teenage girl.
Of course. Well, what kind of a girl is she? Is she trendy or conservative? Oh, we can do a silk chemise or a crepe de chine.
Girl have good spinning back kick, but need work on sword hand block.
Yes, that's very helpful.
It didn't
Yes.
though.
But
No, it didn't.
But the implication was supposed to be there.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, it's implied, but it's very clearly not. And
Yeah, like I just imagine like if a guy came into a dress store, he's buying it for
Himself.
no, for someone else. Like there was no implication that he was
Well,
buying it for himself,
and
and then he had to say like, "Oh, this is not for me."
I also felt like it was almost implied that the guy was like, "Oh, it's a foreign guy. He must be confused about what a dress store is." And I'm like, it's not like we're Japan's not like a third world place or something. I don't understand why you'd be like.
Do they have dresses in
He
Japan?
doesn't understand what he's seeing with his eyes.
He gave that girl no information to work from, and she
Nope.
somehow
No.
got like the exact size, right? He's
That's
like,
yeah.
She's not too big,
Not too skinny.
not too skinny,
Slender.
not too tall, not too short.
I know that it's like all the movies, but his broken English was really hurting.
It was
me.
forced.
It was really rough.
It didn't feel as forced in the other films.
It-
This
it-
one,
it
felt,
does.
I think he had developed his English a lot better since that first
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
And it just he was trying to do his original accent in the film, and it just was not working.
Yeah, it felt really artificial and weird.
I'd have to go back and watch the other ones because like I
That's
have
way
nothing to
more
compare
natural.
it
I'm
wondering-
to. I
yeah,
have nothing to compare it to.
It definitely
right now.
feels more natural in my memory, but you know, as we've seen before, we don't always remember these movies the best. So
Also, like I just finally like started to question this. Why does Mr. Miyagi talk in the third person at all?
he does it, all the time, and it's just sort of a Mr. Miyagi thing. I guess it's supposed
like
to
a
be part of
character
his
trait, but
part
like-
of his mystique is.
I guess I just didn't get it.
I don't know, but we have the final showdown.
So the prom bungee scene happens.
Yep.
And Ned, the bully, for whatever reason, just keeps antagonizing Eric because he wanted to rape Julie. And he's like,
he's mad at
mean,
Eric
yes,
because
he
yeah,
did.
Ned wanted to
Yeah.
rape Julie, and now Eric
He was
is like
just dating
dating
her,
Julie,
just
and
straight
he finds that offensive.
so they
He also
leave,
quit the Alpha Elite, and that's not acceptable.
they leave the prom. Eric is outside the house, Julie's house. Ned breaks his windows with a baseball bat. His
Yeah.
sweet
All of
His
them.
hot,
oh, yeah.
red hot rod.
Really nice car,
and
which he-
what car guy? What car was that?
It was. He says he directly tells you in the movie.
Yeah, but you're the car guy.
Yeah, car guy. What is it?
I don't even. It was like a Buick 278 or
Skylark?
something like that.
It
No,
was a
like-
sweet red car with a black racing stripe.
if you go to the Internet Movie Car Database, they'll have it there.
Well, you're the Internet Movie Car Database for the podcast.
It was the same Buick that was in Fast and Furious.
So Ned busts his windows open and then challenges him to a dock fight?
Yes.
Everything has to happen at the docks, whether it's sex or fighting. It's happening at the
Sometimes
docks.
both, I guess.
I feel like he probably does both at the same time.
Eric takes the bait, follows Ned to the dock.
Yep.
The Alpha Elite are there to ambush him, and
Yep.
they blow his
They
car up.
blew his car like straight up. That was a really nice car,
His
and they
poor
destroyed
car.
it.
The
he was
windows
not
were
sad about
broken.
it though.
He was like,
Yeah, they didn't
He was
seem to
more
care.
kind of say, he was like, "Oh, dang, why'd you guys do that? I would have been sad. That was a really nice car." And he
Yeah.
apparently saved it from a junkyard and
He's
rebuilt
like, well,
it
this is
himself.
going to be a bad day.
And
You fix this scene by having Julie and Miyagi not knowing where they are on the dock, having the car explode, and be like, "Oh, there must be over there."
I would have been
Yeah.
like, I would have seen that and been like, "I'm leaving to immediately call the police and tell them you
The
torched
police
my
are
car."
in on it, Andy.
Oh my
Michael
god! Yeah, that's
Ironside
true.
is like chief of police and like the principal of the school.
Police show up and they're like, they're other Alpha Elite members that graduated, or all the police are like, okay.
He owns the whole town.
My god.
He's like that villain in Hot Fuzz.
He's drunk with power.
Yeah. So Ned and him have a fight. Ned ends up winning because
Yes.
the Alpha Elite join up and just beat the crap out of
Yeah.
Eric.
Yeah.
Eric's not even that good of a fighter.
He's really not.
And the fighting in this scene isn't that good. It's just a lot of punching and kicking.
But I mean, he didn't really train to fight. Like in the early scene, there's a scene where Michael Ironsides is like training the Alpha Elite in like the quad of the
Yeah.
school or whatever. And yeah,
Where a football scene would take place in a film.
yes, it's
There's
exactly
a karate
where the
hangout
football team would be
happening
playing
in
it.
the
But
film.
instead, it's these guys like doing their Krav Maga stuff. And Eric's like, I don't want to fight. And I'm like, why did you join the Alpha Elite
Yeah.
guy? You were clearly not for
Yeah,
them.
and he
Well,
has
he-
like a
well-
good point too, because like he's like Michael Ironside's like, Eric, come over here and fight me, and he's just like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna let you just show off to,
Yeah,
to
that
everybody,
was
which
ac-
is
yeah, it's
actually what he
true.
was doing.
Well, That's exactly
He
true.
does have motivation because he was looking for a recommendation for the Air Force.
Yeah, it's true. And he says
So
that
he-
like
he does have a
joining the
reason
Alpha
for
Elite
being
is
the
like
Alpha
a
Elite.
really good thing to have, I guess,
Yeah.
on your extracurriculars when you're applying to stuff. But yeah, so they beat the crap out of Eric.
Yeah, and then just Mr. Miyagi and
Julie
Julie
Miyagi show
show
up.
up, and they're ready to fight, and she's like, I want to fight him. I want to take him on.
Mr. Maggie's like, no, don't. Fighting is always someone gets hurt when you fight.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, he's just like, okay, yeah, go ahead, fight. There was no like big turning point
Yeah.
or like there was no plea like by Julie to explain like this guy was trying to rape me, Mr. Miyagi. And he would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, kick his ass. You know, I mean, come on, that is can I do it? Oh, you go first, and then we'll beat him up together.
I would have loved to see that where Miyagi's like,
think it
go to
okay.
town. Yeah. Miyagi say, go to town.
Why didn't you not tell Miyagi earlier about rape? Me would have killed person.
I would have done it Miyagi's self.
I would have done it Miyagi style.
Miyagi raped Ned.
What is he, a caveman now? He's Tarzan? He's suddenly Tarzaning your accent?
No, that was not me. That was Mr. Miyagi.
I think we have definitely written a movie that is 10 times better than the movie we watched during this podcast.
That's usually how these podcasts go.
Yeah.
So Julie ends up beating up Ned with just a bunch of weird kicks and things.
They're all slow.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're super slow.
Yeah, where you should have used fast motion or actually done a little choreography.
Or at least
They
just
decided
more
not
camera
to do
cuts
that.
to like kind of cover up the movements.
Yeah, you think you would have you trained her a little better in a movie called The Next Karate Kid.
In the IMDb credits, it did say that the choreographer gave Hilary Swank a pink belt because she was really good at all of like the intricate moves, but couldn't do any of the basics.
Yeah.
She just didn't know how to do any of the basics whatsoever.
Yeah, she couldn't block. She couldn't do much.
She couldn't punch, kick, block, like any of that stuff.
So, yeah.
Very well.
So she beats...
She doesn't even
Ned.
beat him with that sweet move that she learned on the rocks.
No.
She beats him with the... So she was in the monastery, like in Karate Kid Part 2, I think. Yeah. Where Daniel-san is training in the barn and Mr. Miyagi's throwing stuff down at him. The same scene happens.
Yes.
Almost. But it's not as good. Because Daniel-san had like spikes and scary stuff.
He did. Karate Kid 2 is just a great film, so it's hard to compete with it.
So, apparently she has gained the ability to fight blind, which Ned throws
Yeah, that's
dirt
right.
in her
He
eye.
throws dirt straight in her eyeballs.
Right in her eyeballs.
But then, later on, after the fight, no dirt on her face whatsoever.
No. So she does do the crane kick, I guess, here, but it's just really bad.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not good.
That's
It's
summary
not
of
the
this whole
same.
film. I feel like
It was also
Learn
just
a different move.
Yeah, it was just so convenient to like throw those bags at her blindfold and then just have to use that ability in the end. It was just like,
right.
We only taught you this thing because we knew that this guy was going to throw sand in your face.
I mean, I think they were just trying to call back Karate Kid, where like the big climax of his training is learning the crane kick on the thing, and then he has to do it in the tournament. But
the tournament makes so much more sense.
It really did.
Because there are
didn't
rules.
work.
Everything is clean. Mr. Miyagi knows like stuff's going to be on the up and up. When Mr. Miyagi tells Julie to go fight this guy, he has to know like she's not ready for to fight, right?
I don't know.
He just has to know that she's going to lose if she goes in there. But as a story element, she wins. But
yeah, so then
there's no way she could
Ironsides
actually beat all those people.
So then Ironsides tells some of the other guys to just
Old
beat her up
Michael
all at once, right?
Ironsides.
He's just like, you get it, Walter Goggins. So he tells him to get in there. He's like, no, man,
Yeah.
that's messed up.
Echoing for the first movie, the bullies turning on their master.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Ironside basically wants them dead.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he wants to murder these people.
He's trying to get out of the charges for
cold
blowing
blood.
up that car.
He's just covering his tracks.
Yeah, he's like, no witnesses.
So Mr. Miyagi has enough and just beats the crap out of him.
Yep.
Michael Ironside doesn't even get a hit in.
No.
He's just being blocked and toyed around by Mr. Miyagi to the point where Mr. Miyagi just blows on his face as the final.
He didn't even do the. I thought he was gonna do the nose honk.
The nose grabby honky.
And
Which one is that from?
That's the first film.
First two,
Okay.
I think he does it in the first two.
I was also expecting the nose honk.
Yep, I thought it was gonna be the nose honk.
And then Julie-san says that Miyagi kicks some ass, and then he says, no, I didn't. And she's like, yeah, you did. He's like, okay, I did.
Lisa, how many times Miyagi say fighting not good?
I know. Somebody always gets hurt. Mr. Miyagi, come on, admit it. We'll kick some butt.
Julissa, fighting not good. But if must fight, win.
And then we fade out on Miyagi's face, and then the hawk is suddenly back, flying over the lake.
Oh my god! I'm gonna be honest. I zoned out at that moment. I don't remember that happening.
And then the credits run.
And I will say,
What happened to her mom?
She died in California
Oh, no.
gardening Mr. Miyagi's
I wasn't
garden.
paying attention during the movie credits, but the IMDb credits list somebody as the voice of the hawk.
Sure.
Like they list
That
a
was me.
person as the voice of the hawk.
Well, yeah, you got to give it credit to somebody.
I was like, wait. I don't remember the hawk having any sort of lines.
They probably used like a sound effect that they thought didn't have a
They were like, where are we
connection
going to
or a
possibly
reference.
find a recording of a hawk?
Well, they probably already used it, and we're like, okay, well, that guy did the hawk, so we got to put him in the credits now.
Yeah.
They can do
They,
it.
thought
they
that was
like
really
found
funny.
someone on findsounds.com that did like a hawk sound.
It was just one of the crew guys. It was probably the blonde guy from the bowling alley. He was like, guys, in case you need it, I could do a really, really bitchin' hawk.
I would have liked scenes of the grandmother talking to Mr. Miyagi. How is Julie doing?
Yeah.
How's this?
Yeah.
You took her
I
to
noticed-
a monastery? Why did you do that?
She
without
got suspended
telling me?
from school for 2 weeks. Like, I actually I had the same thought while watching it. Like, she never once checks in. Like, he sends her to his home in L.A. and she is like, gone. I'm on vacation. She's your problem now. Bye.
She doesn't even bring her homework to the monastery. That would have been a thing that she could have been doing. I mean, she could have
Yeah.
developed herself a little more personally in a
It
couple
definitely,
ways.
yeah,
that just
absolutely.
misstepped in
Could have
the
been at
film.
least a little invested. It seemed like.
Yeah, I was kind of confused that they didn't bring the grandma back just for even the last scene. Like, I don't really care if she called or not, but like, just have her show back up and them reconcile that storyline, or don't show it at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Julie needed to have the moment where she's like, I was being a jerk to you. I learned the ways,
Yeah,
Mr.
that's
Miyagi.
I could have used
Now
that
we can-
reconciliation.
We can have a big hug at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she already kind of implied that, like, as the grandma was leaving, she was like, sometimes I say things that I don't mean, and then the grandma says the same thing, and then they don't hug. You could have just had them recognize that and then hug this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even just like if the grandma come back and she's like, Grandma, and runs out and hugs the grandma, and the grandma is surprised at how nice, like just the hug itself.
Yeah,
Surprised.
and
she
then
looks
show
up, and
Mr. Miyagi's
Mr. Miyagi's
face.
on the porch and he just nods and like
and
that.
then show that hawk flying over the lake at the very
the
end.
credits.
With the credits.
It's dark in one scene, and suddenly it's daylight, and there's a hawk flying over a lake. End movie. How are we going to wrap this up?
Is that supposed to be
There
like
it is.
imagery or something like that? Like she's
the hawk?
the broken
Wait,
broken winged
her
hawk,
wing?
and the like now she just like she's healed and she's flying over a lake or
Wait,
something.
that guy
That's
who
deep.
bungee jumps breaks his arm.
Oh,
He's
the
the
hawk.
hawk.
He's gonna take care, or she's gonna take care of him
She
now
was
as
telling
well
him
on
her-
top of the roof.
That's who she was telling her problems to the whole movie.
Yeah.
He was secretly in love with her.
As soon as he broke his arm, he was connected to the hawk.
Oh man, I do not ever need to come back to this movie though.
My favorite scene out of all of them, though, and I don't really remember the song, like, it's not coming to me, but, like, there's a song called Moving On Up that they play when they show the... Yes.
Moving out.
As they show the Alpha Elite walking through school in their mom jeans, and I was like, is this scene right for this movie? Is this song right?
That take gets held for a while. You see like a full, from their head to their toe, walking up.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
man.
all
long
walking in
scene.
mom jeans, and they're just like,
With their
moving
tucked-in
on
shirts,
up,
yeah.
moving on up. And I was like, this is the wrong song
Oh,
for this
boy.
whole scene. But it was hilarious.
So many moments in this film that I had to question.
Some of them outside the movie, like, why were you watching?
Yeah.
That too.
Be sure to join us on our next episode when we talk about The Mummy.
Where did you get this?
On a dig down in Thebes.
Jonathan, I think you found something.
There is an ancient legend of a place known as the City of the Dead.
We call it the doorway to hell.
Where the earliest pharaohs were said to have hidden the wealth of Egypt.
Are we going into battle?
There's something out there. Something underneath that sand.
They came to uncover its secrets.
Mummies, my good son. This is where they made the mummies.
They sought to unlock its treasure.
And then there was light.
Oh, boy.
What they did
Oh my God. It does exist.
I think this may be the Book of the Dead.
was unleash a force unlike any the world has ever known.
You must not read from the book!
You have unleashed the creature that we have feared for more than 3,000 years.
He will regenerate and no longer be the undead.
We are in serious trouble.
You swim!
If the occasion calls for it.
Trust me! It calls for it!
Universal Pictures invites you
His powers are growing.
This just keeps getting better and better.
to experience the adventure
It appears he's already chosen his human sacrifice.
that will live forever.
If he turns me into a mummy, you're the first one I'm coming after.
Go!
The Mummy.